So the things which happen between, as I said, from April 22nd, 2020 to basically up to today, it is part of the immigration suspension. The immigration suspension before it has been revoked on February 24th, yesterday. Many people have lost the chance, or they had the visa and they are not able to come to America. That was number one, and that affected various types of visas. It has affected H1 visas. It has affected people who are coming in the United States for the what we call the visas, which can lead to certain types of jobs like L visas, J visas, H1 visas, and all immigrant type of visas. So that was a big chunk of time from April 22nd, basically up to yesterday. There was that immigration suspension. So now it has been revoked. So there is no longer that immigration suspension. What does that mean? I already made a couple of videos yesterday and I posted them. I know you'll have a chance to go through those ones. But I wanted to have an opportunity to go in detail and explain all these kind of things. Number one, the end of the immigration suspension. What does that mean for the DV 2020 winners? Remember, the DV 2020 winners, there are some who already have the visas and they were not able to travel. So what happened to those people? That's number one. Are the old visas were not issued in 2020 until the fiscal year ended? Then we have DV 2021. The winners are still in the limbo. They haven't done the interview. The fiscal year already started in October 1st. So until end of February, that is about more than 5 months. So for that particular case, those people are they going to answer to do the interview for everybody? Like, that is the question to ask. And in the video I explained that they have to go with high speed on how they can be able to do the interviews, to invite people for the interviews. And then we have the other part of this one is about the video which I made about the visa bulletin and the interviews. What does that mean about the visa bulletin and the interviews? The visa bulletin for March is out. And now the immigration suspension has ended. What does that mean? What is the impact of ending the immigration suspension? That's one. But at the same time, when the interviews are they going to supposed to start? So there are procedures, not just because the immigration suspension has ended or has been revoked on February 24th. Today on 25th or 20 whatever, 2 days later you are going to the interview at the US Embassy. No. So if you are expecting the interviews are going to be scheduled by KCC for those who are waiting for the interviews for the DV lottery interviews. It will take a little bit of time, because when you receive the second notification of the letter, the second notification letter is the letter which tells you when to go to the US Embassy for the interview. But from the day you receive the notification, and the interview date is 4 to 6 weeks. Meaning you need to do you have to go and do the medical in between. Some people have to travel to another country or to another city. So you have to prepare everything for medical and going for the interview. So there is 4 to 6 weeks. So that is number one. But the people who are in other type of visas, if you are in India, for instance, or you are in China, you are waiting for the H1 visa and it is already current, or you are waiting for the visas basing on the family or employment based, you can start processing. They can start to process. But for the DV lottery, you have to also to depend on you being scheduled for the interview. So that's why I say the best scenario will be people from March 1st to start receiving the interview date. And let's say, because there will be so many people and already they're behind, maybe they might take maybe the 3 weeks window, but most likely it will be 4 weeks. So it will be the end of March or the first week of April, when people are going to start getting the DV lottery interviews. So the schedules will start going to be on March 1st. That will be the time you can be able to start receiving the second notification from the KCC and preparing for the interviews. But on the previous years, it was easier to look on what we call the visa bulletin and predict when will you be able to go for the visa interview, because we know, for instance, October, what usually there has been the gap on November, December, whatever, we can be able to predict. But now it has been very difficult to predict when will you be having the interview exactly timeline, because we are going to have 5 to 6 month delay. So if you're going to have 5 to 6 month delay, that means the October people were not interviewed for the DV 2021 winners. November were not interviewed. December were not interviewed. January not interviewed. February have not interviewed. Possible March, most of them, they will not be interviewed. So if you're talking about 5 to 6 month people not to be interviewed, yes, there have been the visa bulletin for October, November, December, January, February. Now is the visa bulletin for March. So they are not going to start people for March. They have to start already people from October for the DV winners. And for the others, they will start going to give the interviews, those for the other type of visas, the one who were before that. So that is something I know they are going to be faster, but there's someone who has a current DV our case number for the interviews for March, you have to wait. First of all, there are people who were technically supposed to have the interview in October, interview in November, interview in whatever. So those visa bulletin, yes, they are on going in the normal way, but people were not interviewed, so they have to backlog of are going to accomplish those number of people. But I know there will be another question related to that, and the question might be, what happens for those people who were already have done their interviews? I know there are some people who did their interviews and then immigration suspension happened before they received their visa back, their passport back. So the passports are still at the US Embassy up to this moment. Those people will be given their passport with the actual visa stamp once the routine opening of the embassies started to operate. I know most of the embassies around the world, they are operating, but the full capacity depends on the local status of the COVID-19. So restriction on the local area will be able to determine those kind of things. So that is something you need to consider about that. One more thing on that, there are those people who maybe did the medical, who did the police clearance record and expected to have the interview, and those things have expired. On the medical part, I'm not so sure. They haven't given the directives whether they'll continue to use the previous medical or they are going to ask the new medical, because usually after expiring, there is no any exception. You must go and take the new medical medical testing. So but I know it is expensive. So for those who have done the medical, they might have the opportunity to either get opportunity to retake the medical, or it can be given the exemption to use the previous medical, unless otherwise there are certain bigger changes in the in your health condition, which will require you to go and do the medical. So that is something. First of all, I want to make sure that we understand what does that mean. The revoking of the immigration suspension, presidential proclamation 10014 and 10052. What does that mean to everybody? So everything now is back to the normal situation, depending on the local situations of the country, but we'll start seeing people are going to be interviewed. So that is the bigger news, which I want to make sure that we are all on the same page to understand that one.